Hello, friends. What issue we're trying to overcome today is looking at our Google business profile. So, this is how we're able to tell who's searching what and what pages Google's showing and where they are showing up in the search engine results. So, if we look here, we're using Coeur d'Alene Real Estate Hub as our project for today. And I'm just going into our 3 month view. We only have been active on this page since September 11th, so not even a full month on this one yet. But what I'm looking for are pages that are getting good impressions that have low position results. And I'm also looking for pages that I can build authority about. So this one really made a lot of sense to me. Idaho first time homebuyer. And in the past month, less than a month, we're getting the most impressions on this page. So we're getting 26 impressions, which if we click, this is what they're searching, right? Idaho first time homebuyer. And we can see that Google's taking them or showing them. It's not taking them anywhere. It's showing the result in the search engine, the SERP, the search engine result page at position 85. So we're on page like 8.5. Not great. But we're getting a lot of traffic relative to the age of this page. So I know that I can build more authority about this topic because this is a newer page. And you can see it's like really basic, right? Like first time home buyer, super basic stuff in here. Maybe it's useful to somebody, but I think it leaves a lot to be desired. So I know that within this hub page in our services, right, our first time home buyer page, that we could do a little better. We can provide more help to people who are seeing this. And that's what Google wants to see. They're like, is this page relevant? Is it useful? And the more useful, the more relevant, the more information, the more words, the better H2 tags, which are these, and the better H1 that we can provide, the more relevance it has to the searcher and the search results and how we show up. So how do we find content for this, right? So what I use is Notebook LM, and I do two things here. So I give it the web page, and it's like this is an AI model. But what I like about Notebook LM is that it is not going to hallucinate. It probably will a little bit, but the reason I say it's not going to is because it is only looking at your source data and understanding what your source data is and making suggestions and ideas based off your source data. So it's not like going into the internet, it's not tripping out, it's not thinking of other things, and it doesn't do things like ChatGPT would because it's like, hey, only think about these two things or this one thing, whatever, however many source articles you have, and that's it. So the first thing I did was I put in the source page, which is the URL, and then I simply said, okay, what pages out there exist? And I don't think I have where it came from. Source guide. So I just went to Google and searched in first time homebuyer, and it came up with one in Colorado Springs because that's where I live. Doesn't really matter. I'm just looking for the first search result that Google thinks is the most relevant. And I made this into the source. And let's see, how do we get back? There we go. So I took another website that was more in depth than what we had. And I said, okay, look at this source here, our website, and then look at this source here, the subject matter expert. Find the gaps in the content that we currently have and how we're going to add to it. And what it does is it does exactly that. So it gave a strategy up here somewhere of like, here's what you have on the website, here's what you're missing, and then it starts to, there's a lot of information here. So let's see. So it gave me like the gaps, and here's the third gap it kind of came up with. So basically, then what I do is you just copy this gap here. I mean, you could either just copy this whole part, or you could copy this whole section down to wherever, probably, yeah, to right here. And then you just take it into Firebase, and here's the last one that relates to this one. So this was probably the fourth gap. And again, I'm always saying plan only, and I do not want it to delete any content that I already built out. I don't want it to just delete it. I want to add to it. So do not delete. And then here is what Notebook LM said to do. And it also says where to add it in there as well, based off of the current content we have on our website. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. The plan is to replace the existing very brief closing the deal. So in this case, I'm okay with it, because if we look at, this was the original before I refreshed. There's one section in here. It's pretty short. Maybe this one, I forget. It's probably this one. It's like real short, right? There's not a lot of information in here. So it was like, hey, you don't really have much in there, so we're going to replace it. And I said, okay, that's great. And it, says, okay, so it's actually going to section 6. So it did some work inside of section 6 here and added some things to it. And then it just added some stuff, and I said, great, cool. And I kind of just did that over and over again until we got the final product here, 6, 7. I'll talk about that in a minute. The number 8, I think, is still kind of thin in terms of content. We could do a lot more here. And then we've got common mistakes, and that's it. So what else did we cover today? So we did put in these pages here so that when somebody finds this page from the search engine results that we were seeing, it was showing this page, right? And we probably just refresh this. If we go down here, so if somebody's like, oh, this guide is really great, well, what about my area in Dalton Gardens? So now you can see it goes to Dalton Gardens first-time homebuyer. And this is going to be a more in-depth, specific knowledge about that area of Dalton Gardens and first-time homebuyers. So we can add a little more content to this page. We're not looking to make this a hub page. This is a sales style page. So it would be more like, hey, here's our process. Here's how we work. Here's how you can work with us, that type of thing. So just a little bit about the area, a little bit about first-time home purchases. And this way we're passing the authority of this page, which is what we're trying to do, is build this authoritative hub page. And we want to pass the authority of this page onto these more location-based first-time homebuyer pages. And yeah, we did some other things where we just changed the buttons a little bit on this page, where it goes to the contact page. We're going to build out this contact page more and more, but right now it's just a phone number, click to call type of thing. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions, or you are interested in having a site like this, check us out on Skool. If you're already on Skool and seeing this, book a call with me, ask some questions in the comments, and I will talk to you all soon. Peace.